In 1978, Superman the movie proved that comic book films could be huge blockbusters. Marvel Comics and its figurehead Stan Lee wanted to get their own heroes in movies, starting with their most popular character.
Spider-Man. I would kill to see a good Spider-Man movie.
I want Spider-Man!
It would take almost 25 years of failure to get Spider-Man on the big screen, with more than 6 movie ideas, no less than 5 potential Peter Parkers, and at least one giant rubber tarantula.
I'm out here hoping to put these and other properties into movies and television shows.
There were already a couple Spider-Man TV shows out there, including the American series, The Amazing Spider-Man, and the Japanese Spider-Man. But there were whispers and rumors that Marvel and Stan Lee were very unhappy with the Spider-Man TV series.
The Spider-Man TV series I was very unhappy with because
they wanted something more like Superman the movie, a full Hollywood budget, a theatrical, feature-length film, something that could introduce Spider-Man to a worldwide audience in a big, definitive way. Just imagine, Spider-Man the movie, distributed by Orion Pictures, coming sometime around 1984. The earliest concepts ranged from a traditional Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus story, Spider-Man fighting a giant robot, to Spider-Man stopping the Cold War, to a musical. Despite director Roger Corman and Stan Lee finishing a full screenplay, they weren't able to finalize the budget, and these ideas never materialized into anything concrete. So Marvel made a decision that would haunt them for the next decade. They sold the Spider-Man movie rights to Cannon Films.
The home of high-powered, high-voltage, motion picture entertainment. We're Cannon Films, and we're dynamite.
Cannon Films was sort of a low-budget empire in the 80s, known for making Chuck Norris action movies, ninja flicks, the breakdancing movie Breakin', and of course,
Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, rated PG.
Cannon absolutely churned out movies. They released 43 films in 1986 alone, thanks to the relaxed philosophy of their executives, cousins Menahem Golem and Yoram Globus.
Sometimes we don't make such good films, but we do make films.
Today, the Spider-Man movie rights are estimated to be worth at least a couple $2 billion. Cannon Films was able to buy the rights for just $225,000. Attempt number 2, Spider-Man, the movie, coming in 1986. Cannon hired director Tobe Hooper, known for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and other horror movies. Because yes, this Spider-Man was a horror movie.
I don't think Menahem Golem particularly knew what Spider-Man was. Menachem's understanding was that it was a spider, man.
In Cannon's screenplay, Peter Parker is a photographer who gets turned into a literal giant spider creature by an evil scientist.
8-armed, hairy creature, and he, of course, is suicidal because he looks so awful. The mad doctor who changed him into it has this basement full of mutants somewhere, and he's going to take over the world. It was dreadful.
Spider-Man has to fight his way out of the doctor's dark laboratory, one ugly mutant monster at a time. For reasons we may never know, Marvel's Stan Lee was unhappy with the script and pushed for a more faithful adaptation of Spider-Man.
he shoots webbing out from a little wrist thing he has, and he can shoot at any distance. That could be a building.
After a few
mile
lessons
away.
on the science of web swinging and inspirational dead uncles, Cannon Films hired director Joe Zito and writers Ted Newsom and John Brancato to write a more comic-accurate take.
It's gonna be a blockbuster of the century.
Third time's the charm? Spider-Man, the movie, coming in, let's say, 1987. For this take, Cannon envisioned Peter Parker, played by a young Tom Cruise, getting his spider powers in a particle accelerator accident that also turns his mentor into the mad scientist Dr. Octopus, who's developing anti-gravity technology for, evil reasons. Joe Zito was planning to build massive set pieces, develop new special effects for web swinging, and cast A-list actors. They started building up hype with their marketing campaign featuring posters and even a teaser trailer.
Within this unsuspecting city, history's greatest experiment creates tomorrow's greatest superhero. Spider-Man, the movie. A live-action spectacular directed by Joe Zito, based on the characters created by Stan Lee.
For a brief moment, Cannon Films genuinely looked like they were about to make a real blockbuster. But just as things were looking up for Spider-Man, they started falling apart at Cannon Films.
Last month, Cannon announced a loss of $90 million for the 2 years 1985-86.
Their other high-budget movies, Superman 4 and Masters of the Universe, were colossal flops, and they were forced to heavily slash the budget for Spider-Man.
They cut down Spider-Man's budget from about $20 million, which is pretty healthy, down to about $7 million.
They had Tom Cruise dreams, but now they had no Tom Cruise budget. Cannon started looking for a more economic Peter Parker. Maybe even someone with 3 to 5 years of professional wall-crawling experience.
I was Spider-Man. I put that suit on.
That's Scott Leva, who was probably more enthusiastic about Spider-Man than anyone at the studio. Leva already suited up as the hero for Marvel's commercials, live promotional events, and even comic covers. He was the likely choice for this cheaper, stripped-back version of Cannon's Spider-Man, if they could ever get it into production.
Kept dwindling down from 20 million to 10 million to 5 million.
By 1988, Cannon's cheap movie empire was collapsing, and Spider-Man was going down with the ship.
And I was all set to do it, and then out of the blue, it's canceled. So Spider-Man is kind of put on the back burner.
The movie was delayed once again, and director Joe Zito was out.
And after having put a year and a half of his life in it, Joe Zito just threw up his hands. I can't make that picture.
Cannon brought in some new story treatments to match the lower budget, most notably replacing the villain with an original vampire-type guy called the Night Ghoul, and then replacing him with a paraplegic evil scientist who transforms into a giant scorpion. But these ideas really had no chance of being put to film. If Cannon was going to make this movie, the budget would only allow the bare bones. And if they didn't release a Spider-Man movie before 1990, Cannon Films would lose the rights to the character entirely.
The name of the game is to do, not just to blah, 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 blah. Talk about it.
I think they just really needed it done because they were running out of time on their option.
So Cannon's final, desperate attempt had no supervillains, no skyline web swinging, not even dedicated sets. The idea was frankly insane. New director Albert Pyun would film both Spider-Man and the sequel to Masters of the Universe at the same time, on the same sets. They'd film Peter Parker before he gets his powers, pause production, shoot Masters of the Universe, let the actor bulk up, and then resume filming once he looked superhero ready. The plot would just be Peter becoming Spider-Man, his Uncle Ben getting killed, and Peter catching his uncle's killer. Boom, done. That's technically a movie, and Cannon gets to keep the rights. Sets were built in North Carolina, costumes and casting were finalized, and shooting was just 2 weeks away. So there you have it. Spider-Man the movie, coming in 1989. A plan so crazy, it just might work. The plan did not work.
We're sitting there with literally, millions of dollars worth of prep and sets. We found out that Cannon had lost the rights. We'd have to shut down production of Spider-Man.
Cannon Films finally collapsed and they lost their rights to Spider-Man. After spending millions of dollars on their various attempts to make the movie, they ultimately had nothing to show for it. Back to square one.
Making motion picture is practically being in a war.
Menahem Golan claimed he still had the Spider-Man rights and he sold them to Carol Co. Pictures, who hired James Cameron to write and direct. In the early 90s, James Cameron hadn't made Avatar or Titanic yet, but he was already one of Hollywood's most sought-after directors because of his work on Terminator and Aliens.
Let me ask you about this rumor. Are you supposed to do Spider-Man the movie?
Yeah, I wrote the script. I'm ready to go.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
This Spider-Man was not going to be a desperate B movie. James Cameron doesn't do small movies. With a budget of over $50 million, his vision included cutting-edge special effects and a young Leonardo DiCaprio for Peter Parker.
Who plays Spider-Man, Peter Parker, in your mind?
Actually, I was talking to Leonardo about it.
Really? Leonardo?
Yeah.
He's good.
He's a bit of a...
No, you haven't seen this guy move.
Let's try this again. Spider-Man, the movie, coming in 1994. A nerdy teenage Peter Parker gets bit by a radioactive spider and wakes up with nasty superpowers that are pretty clearly a metaphor for puberty. After his Uncle Ben gets killed, Spider-Man's very brutal crime-fighting spree attracts the attention of a billionaire criminal who has the power to harness electricity, which is apparently great for killing people and also for committing electronic bank fraud. He's never named Electro in the script, but he's Electro. Peter refuses to join him, so Electro and his enforcer Sandman turn the media, the police, and the whole city against him. They kidnap Spider-Man's love interest Mary Jane, and in a big final battle set piece, Sandman gets turned into glass, and Electro falls off the Twin Towers, leaving Spider-Man to rain millions of stolen dollars back onto the citizens of New York. Spider-Man and Mary Jane swing off into the sunset, fade out. If you have a free half hour, read James Cameron's full script treatment. There are some really bizarre moments in there, and it has a unique take on Peter Parker's character. This version is often called the R-rated Spider-Man because Peter has sex and curses, and he's generally more violent and angry than most adaptations. But I think that's a stretch. It still feels like it's a PG-13 movie that just allows Spider-Man to go a little edgier than we're used to. However, Menahem Golan sued Carolco over the specifics of their deal, while at the same time Carolco tried to sell the Spider-Man rights to MGM. What followed was a years-long tangled web of lawsuits where MGM, Carolco, Menahem Golan, Yoram Globus, 21st Century Films, Giancarlo Peretti, TriStar, Viacom, and Marvel Comics all sued each other for various claims on the Spider-Man movie rights and distribution. In the process, Carolco Studios, 21st Century Films, and Marvel all went bankrupt.
I want to do Spider-Man, but the rights are all messed up.
Why are the rights messed up? Marvel owns them?
It's one of these bankruptcy things. You know, you got all these companies that acquire the rights and they go into bankruptcy, then they owe money to everybody and the rights have value.
You might be asking, didn't you say Marvel got the rights back in 1990 because Canon Films never made their movie? It took 6 years of lawsuits, but the courts said, yeah, Marvel Comics had the Spider-Man movie rights all along. All those other companies were overstepping, and Marvel was still broke, so they immediately tried to sell them again. Around this time, pop star Michael Jackson attempted to buy Spider-Man just so he himself could play Peter Parker in a movie. Marvel declined and offered Sony Pictures not just Spider-Man, but every single Marvel character for $25 million. Sony said, no way. No one's ever going to watch a movie about Iron Man, Captain America, or the X-Men. They bought the rights to Spider-Man alone for $7 million. And finally, they were back to trying to make this movie.
Technology is here, we have the right people that want to make it, the passion. It's very important for us to tell the story right, make a good picture.
This was attempt number 6, but who's counting? After considering pretty much every major director for the job, Sony hired Sam Raimi to direct and David Koepp to write the script, which was initially based on Cameron's treatment and gradually worked into a unique story. It still retained Spider-Man having organic web shooters and kept a very similar dynamic between Peter and Mary Jane. Electro was traded out for the Green Goblin, and most of the edgier aspects of the story were cut out. This is a cool teaser trailer. I wonder why these scenes weren't in the actual movie. Oh. Spider-Man the movie, coming in 2002. Unfortunately, the project was abandoned due to budget constraints, and Marvel was forced to sell the rights to... No way, they actually did it. After decades of struggle to get Spider-Man on the big screen, this one finally crossed the finish line.
Still ahead, what's black and white and web all over? And cleaning up at the box office.
Spider-Mania. This past weekend, a lot of you probably saw the Spider-Man movie. Well, a simple yes is fine.
Raimi's Spider-Man became a franchise, then we got another franchise, then another franchise, then an animated franchise, then a weird spin-off franchise. Safe to say, Spider-Man is staying in theaters for the foreseeable future. Maybe someday we'll even be lucky enough to see Canon Films' depressed, full tarantula Peter Parker finally get his time to shine. When it comes to our lost Spider-Man, I think the biggest what-if is James Cameron's version. The others would be just like Superman 4 or the Star Wars Holiday Special. Kind of embarrassing, low-budget mistakes that became an inside joke for fans. But James Cameron's $50 million, violent, moody Spider-Man would have completely changed the trajectory of not just superhero movies, but big blockbusters in general. For better, or maybe for worse. What do you think?
See ya.
Be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.